And what can I say? David Corenswet as the new Superman looks rather intriguing. He doesn't stand out in my eyes as the way Henry Cavill did when Man of Steel first broke. But really, I think he has an interesting look. Let's hope he has the acting chops to back it up. And Rachel Brosnahan, she's a sweet little choice. I think she'll work well with David. So Superman 2025 looks hopeful. And I think overall, this is probably the best a Superman movie has looked in many years. G'day viewers, Retro Man here, and today I'll be talking some more Superman. Yes, that 2025 movie is coming. I just saw the trailer recently. I did a reaction for that on the channel. If you've missed that, please go and check it out. But today I'm asking the question, could this be the best Superman movie in 45 years? Well, let me get into this now, and let's just say, when I say 45 years, I feel wholeheartedly that I believe the last great Superman movie was Superman 2 back in 1980, starring Christopher Reeve. So every Superman movie since then, I feel they got it wrong. So this one with David Corenswet has the weight of its world on its shoulders, and the fan base is really gunning for something special. And I will say the trailer looks hopeful. This could be the biggest movie of 2025, and hopefully the fans will just be saying the past is the past, Superman is back, we can embrace the character again and feel great about it. So yes, over the last 45 years since Superman 2, there have been lots of misses when it comes to this character. Of course, Superman 3 was kind of funny, quirky, indifferent. We had Richard Lester there helming that one, and Richard Lester was responsible for those Beatles movies, A Hard Day's Night and Help, and he had a different attitude. He added a comedic edge to Superman 3. They recruited Richard Pryor, who was the #1 comedian in the world at that point. They wedged him into this Superman story, and Superman 3 had some good elements to it, but it ultimately imploded in its stupidity. And then along came Superman 4, a movie that Christopher Reeve almost didn't want to do, but he ended up doing it to compensate for another movie that he wanted made, which was Street Smart. He felt bad about doing it. By this time, Warner Brothers had lost the rights to Canon Films, and kind of everything went wrong with that film. But they did bring back Gene Hackman, and I think John Cryer was an interesting addition. So there was a couple of little things there that were hopeful, but overall Superman 4 is deemed the worst Superman movie. And then in the 90s, did we even get a Superman? We did get Lois and Clark on TV with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher, and that was a fun show. I had a great time with it, but there was no Superman films in the 90s. And if you're a Superman fan, you were just waiting. It seemed like an eternity. And then at the end of the 90s, they mentioned that Nicolas Cage was getting together with Tim Burton to do a Superman film. And then, you know, everyone was wondering, is Nicolas Cage really the right guy for Superman? And they were also thinking that Tim Burton might destroy it. It might become too dark. And then there was people in another camp saying, well, Tim Burton will, add an edge to it and it'll be updated. And in the end, that film ended up imploding. I mean, there's a lot that could be said about the Nicolas Cage Tim Burton movie, and I think a lot of people have already said it, so I won't say any more on that one. But then as the 2000s moved along, we also got Superman Returns and the theme music was back, and we got a Christopher Reeve lookalike. We got Brandon Routh, and really Brandon Routh looked fantastic, but the movie just once again couldn't back it up. I mean, we had a guy that had potential. He looked cool in the suit, but the movie, it just didn't work. And we had Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane. She was okay, but then we had Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. But you know, overall I found Spacey in that just to be creepy and rather uneventful. And that film was directed by Bryan Singer, who gave us that original X-Men movie. And they obviously felt at the time that it would be a great match, but it just didn't happen. They were kind of holding on to the past too much. They even used Brando's voice, and I think they needed to let go. They didn't know how to let go, and then everything became lost in translation. Now let's talk for a minute about the whole Henry Cavill thing. I always felt that Henry Cavill was a great Superman. Unfortunately, I feel that those movies Henry Cavill found himself in were a bit of a joke. Now, back in 2013, Man of Steel was his introduction, and at the time I actually went to one of those early press screenings in Australia, and I was excited to see the film, but I was also a little bit hesitant. And the one thing that really made me worry was the director. Now, Zack Snyder was the director that brought us Man of Steel and the subsequent Justice League movie, and I really felt that he wasn't the man for the job. He had me worried from the get-go. So I've gone on a limb to tell you my innermost feelings on that, but I really felt Zack Snyder was the problem. Henry Cavill was perfectly cast. I think Amy Adams had the potential of being a fantastic Lois Lane, and really they had a great supporting cast surrounding them. They had Kevin Costner, they had Diane Lane. They even went out of their way to bring in Russell Crowe as Jor-El, which was amazing, really, because, I mean, the original movie with Christopher Reeve, we had Marlon Brando, who was really the embodiment of Jor-El. He had such a presence, and he brought so much dignity and power, and he was just a presence that is undeniable. And I think Russell Crowe was a great choice for Jor-El. He's an Academy Award-winning actor, just like Brando, but in the end, his scenes were kind of a bit of a muddled mess. At one stage, he was appearing and disappearing. They kept wanting to bring him back into the film, and, you know, it just didn't work overall. And ultimately, I think how they handled Henry Cavill was appalling. He was left out in the dark. He was waiting for years to do a Superman 2, or should I say, Man of Steel follow-up, and that never happened. I mean, we got Batman versus Superman, but, you know, it was just another movie. Then we got Justice League, which basically wrote Superman out of it, and they had all these characters in there. Superman was left in the dark, and overall, Cavill's tenure as Superman just didn't work. He looked great, he embodied the character, but they just didn't have the movies to back it up, and they sold him short, and it's such a shame. Anyway, back to this press screening in Australia, and the film was called Man of Steel, and they did that for a reason. They did not want anything associated to Superman. They wanted to kind of bury the character almost. You couldn't even refer to it as the new Superman movie. You had to say Man of Steel. Superman was taking a back seat, and for me, being a Superman fan, why would you kind of subdue your title character and take away his name? So basically, drowning that name Superman and pushing it into the abyss was a bad move. And really, this 2025 film, the title Superman is not that creative, but the character we love is back. He's in your face, and he's back as the titular guy. So what can I say? Superman's a hopeful character. I'm always hopeful when it comes to Superman. The character offers so much. I think he's the leader when it comes to comic book stuff. I think he's the man, and let's hope they get it right. We now have James Gunn, we've got David, we've got Rachel. I think these three have something to offer. The trailer trailer looks really cool. If you've missed my trailer reaction, please go and check it out. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, and comment. Share your thoughts on Superman and the upcoming movie. Share your thoughts on the Superman movies of the past. I'm a big Chris Reeve fan. I think the first two Superman movies are the peak, the pinnacle. They're really the landmark movies, and let's hope this film, this new one with Corin Sweat in 2025, can come close to reliving some of that magic. Let's hope that we will believe a man can fly all over again, and let's hope Gunn and the gang get it right. So bring on Superman 2025, and let's hope, fingers crossed, that it's the best Superman movie in 45 years. So the weight of its world is on its shoulders, but I will be watching, and I'm sure so will you. Until next time, this is Retro Man, living the dream, retro style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang. But in the meantime, please check out these other episodes.